3 Ruthless Lessons from Machiavelli's Hidden Curriculum. Why life is always a stage. They won't teach you this in any classroom. Not in business school, not in politics, not in therapy. Because if they did, if they showed you the real mechanics of power, it would burn everything down. In the shadows of every polished leadership seminar, behind the motivational posters and TED Talks, there exists a hidden curriculum. A syllabus not found in textbooks, but whispered through centuries. It doesn't teach you how to lead by being liked. It teaches you how to survive by being feared. It doesn't care about ethics or optics. It cares about one thing only: power. And no one understood this curriculum better than Niccolò Machiavelli. He's been called evil, manipulative, a master of deception. But that's the version they want you to believe. The truth is darker and more useful. Machiavelli wasn't a villain. He was a teacher of survival, a coach for the kind of leadership that keeps your enemies guessing and your allies obedient. This video is your invitation to the forbidden syllabus. You'll learn 3 ruthless lessons from Machiavelli that most people are too afraid to apply, but that every powerful figure secretly understands. Welcome to the hidden curriculum. Lesson 1. Leadership is theater. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. This is the lesson no leadership coach will give you, because if they did, they'd have to admit that your appearance matters more than your truth, that most of the world, your boss, your friends, your enemies, will never know the real you. And worse, they don't want to. They want the image, the performance, and if you give it to them clean, polished, and confident, you become powerful, even if you're falling apart inside. Now listen to what Tupac said about this lesson.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't that what we're supposed to do? I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world, and that's our job, is to spark.
Tupac understood the symbolic side of influence. He framed himself as a persona to ignite others, not as a ruler, but as a performance that shapes perception. Like Machiavelli's prince, he knew people follow the image more than the man. This is what Machiavelli meant when he said, men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration. Machiavelli doesn't say this to insult you, he says it to arm you. In this time, princes were not guaranteed loyalty. Enemies plotted in the shadows. Armies could turn on their leaders if they sensed weakness. A ruler who looked uncertain would be torn apart before he had the chance to act. People don't follow truth. They follow confidence. They follow certainty. They follow the image of control, even if it's all smoke and mirrors. This is why modern leaders aren't just judged by what they do, but by what they broadcast. Why does a startup founder in a hoodie command billions? Why does a dictator who bankrupts his nation still hold massive popular support? Why do people trust a stranger on YouTube over their own professor? Because power is theater, and the performance convinces people to submit even without force. Vladimir Putin too has mastered this lesson. From his shirtless photo ops in Siberia to his icy stare in press briefings, Putin has crafted a persona of strength. It doesn't matter what's true behind the scenes. What matters is the mask. Even Western analysts admit that his performance of strength is as strategic as his geopolitical moves. But this isn't just for elites. This lesson plays out in everyday life. You've seen it. The guy in your workplace who doesn't know as much as you but gets promoted anyway. Why? Because he knows how to carry himself. He speaks with composure. He walks with purpose. He knows that authority is often granted before it's earned, to those who look like they can handle it. So yes, life is always a stage, and those who learn to play their role don't just survive, they ascend. Lesson 2. Double vision leadership wins. There's a lie they feed you early, that the world rewards honesty, that good intentions always win, that if you play fair, others will too. Machiavelli knew better. He watched honest rulers get betrayed, idealists get devoured, and men of conscience lose everything to men of strategy. So he taught something dangerous. To survive in this world, you need two faces, one for the crowd, one for the storm. In his exact words, he said, "A prince must learn how not to be good, and to use this knowledge and not use it according to the necessity of the case." That line isn't a call to evil. It's a warning. If you insist on being good at all times, you'll lose to people who simply know when to stop pretending. Because this world, your workplace, your relationships, your society, does not run on idealism. It runs on outcomes. Machiavelli writes, "He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner effects his ruin than his preservation." In other words, reality doesn't care about what should happen. It only cares what does. So yes, it's dangerous to be good, but it's even more dangerous to be naive. The world is filled with people who will smile at you while drawing their knife. If you want to lead, hell, if you want to survive, you need to learn the art of double vision. To say what they need to hear while thinking 10 moves ahead. They love to quote the line, "It's much safer to be feared than loved," but they never finish it, because Machiavelli adds a condition. A prince should make himself feared in such a way that if he does not gain love, he at any rate avoids hatred. He's not telling you to be cruel for fun. He's telling you, if you have to make a hard move, do it cleanly, quickly, surgically, not out of rage, not out of spite, but with purpose. Machiavelli calls this cruelty well used. If you must draw blood, do it once and never again, because chaos happens when people fear and hate you. But when they fear you and respect you, that's stability. And this isn't just theory. Abraham Lincoln, the sainted figure in American mythology, understood this better than most. During the Civil War, Lincoln suspended habeas corpus. Thousands were jailed without trial. He shut down newspapers, authorized surveillance, and allowed total war tactics that scorched Confederate towns. None of it matched the image of a gentle liberator, but behind the mask of mercy, Lincoln was calculating, brutal, and utterly focused on preserving the Union. He wore the face of a philosopher king, but when the Republic trembled, he reached for the knife. This is the face Machiavelli respected, the leader who speaks in values but governs by probabilities, who says freedom while moving the chess pieces into checkmate. He's not a tyrant, he's not a monster. He's a realist in a world that punishes fantasy. Modern pop stars know this too. Beyoncé doesn't rule with words, she rules with silence. Every move is choreographed power, every absence a statement. In 2013, she dropped her self-titled album with no announcement, no press, just a midnight upload that rewired the entire music industry. That was not impulse, that was virtue, seizing fortune before anyone else knew there was a game. When she released Lemonade, she converted personal chaos into myth, weaponizing vulnerability into dominance. Her Super Bowl performance in 2016 wasn't entertainment, it was theater of power. Black leather, militant choreography, political imagery broadcast to hundreds of millions. She rarely gives interviews, controls every image, every narrative, every leak. Like Machiavelli's prince, she reveals nothing until it's already inevitable. When she said, "bow down," it was calibration, a reminder that the most effective authority doesn't shout, it curates. Behind the perfection lies a strategist who understands that emotion is currency, image is control, and silence is the sharpest blade of all. And it goes even deeper. In everyday life you see it. The man who says yes too often becomes a target. The one who always tells the truth becomes a tool. The one who never learns to lie gets lied to endlessly. Machiavelli gives you permission to stop bleeding for ideals that don't protect you. You don't have to abandon your values. You just have to stop assuming everyone else shares them. When you lead with trust in a room full of actors, you lose. So here's the real lesson. Speak in values. Let them see kindness, empathy, conviction. That's the role. But inside, think in probabilities. What happens if I do this? What will they gain if I fall? What's the cost of being honest here? What's the reward of staying silent? This is the mindset of the strong. You don't lose your soul. You just stop offering it to people who would sell it. And when the moment comes to choose between being good and staying in the game, you'll know which face to wear. Lesson 3. Use crisis as currency. Everyone talks about control, how to gain it, keep it, project it. But Machiavelli knew the darker truth. Control is an illusion. No matter how careful you are, chaos is coming. The question isn't if, it's when. That's why he taught his most heretical lesson. Don't fear crisis, use it. Machiavelli believed that the world was governed by two forces, fortune and virtù. Fortune is the chaos, the randomness, the brutal storm that hits without warning. Virtù is the skill, the will, the violent energy you bring to fight back. You can't control everything, but you can control how violently you respond. In The Prince, he writes, "Fortune shows her power where valor has not prepared to resist her," meaning fortune only crushes those who are soft, slow, and unready. But if you've sharpened yourself, if you act quickly and fiercely, then fortune becomes your stage. Tupac understood this too. He saw the same performance play out in modern power. Politicians preaching virtue while profiting from chaos. In Keep Your Head Up, he rapped,
"You know it's funny when it rains, it pours. They got money for wars, but can't feed the poor."
And Machiavelli goes even further. In one of his most infamous metaphors, Machiavelli writes, "Fortune is a woman, and it is necessary, if you wish to master her, to beat and coerce her." The imagery is jarring, but the message is brutal and clear. Fortune yields to those who attack her with force, not to those who wait politely. Most people sit still when a crisis comes. They freeze. They pray someone else fixes it. But the Machiavellian sees chaos as raw material, a moment to seize, a ladder suddenly dropped into the pit. History is built on people who didn't flinch when the world cracked open. When Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon, he violated Roman law and sparked civil war. But in that moment of crisis, whilst others hesitated, he acted. And that single step across a shallow river changed the future of the Western world. He understood that opportunity doesn't come in calm, it comes in fire. When Steve Jobs was ousted from Apple in 1985, he didn't vanish. He waited. He learned. He built something new. And when Apple floundered, he returned. Ruthless, streamlined, mythic. That betrayal, that crisis, it wasn't the end, it was leverage. Machiavelli would have smiled at that moment, because it wasn't luck. It was virtù, the inner engine that turns disaster into dominance. But Machiavelli goes even deeper. He warns, if no crisis comes, invent one. Men rise from one ambition to another, he writes. First, they seek to secure themselves against attack, and then they attack others. When you're safe, you get soft. When you're comfortable, you stop hunting. So if the world doesn't give you a challenge, you make one. Because only pressure builds presence. Only conflict forces growth. A leader without struggle is a leader without edge. This is where most people fail. They treat setbacks like signs to stop. But to Machiavelli, crisis is currency, and the boldest ones spend it with precision. So how do you live this? When everything goes wrong, your business collapses, you get betrayed, you're humiliated publicly. Don't look for pity. Don't look for fairness. Look for leverage. What can this moment give you that stability never could? What can you do now that your enemies won't expect? Crisis resets the board. The timid wait for someone to put the pieces back together. The powerful flip the table and rewrite the rules. Machiavelli ends The Prince with a call to arms. Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. Meaning, if your will is strong enough, the obstacle shrinks. Because when you believe the storm belongs to you, you stop being afraid of it. So yes, fortune will hit you. That's not failure. That's fuel. Be impetuous. Be unpredictable. Be violent with your ambition when the world starts to shake. And when the dust settles, you won't just have survived. You'll be standing higher than anyone else. Because in the hidden curriculum of power, crisis isn't a setback. It's your stage. They'll tell you Machiavelli was a warning. They'll say, don't be like this. But that's not what scares them. What scares them is that it works. 3 lessons. 3 cracks in the surface of the world they sold you. First, that power is theatre. You are already performing. Most just don't know it. Second, that virtue is a mask. The good man who refuses to act cruelly when he must isn't good. He's gone. Third, that crisis is not chaos. It's currency. And the bold know how to spend it. This is the knowledge they bury beneath leadership books and corporate jargon. Because if you understood how power really works, you'd stop asking for it. You'd start taking it. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. You don't walk back into the world the same. You walk back sharper, colder, wiser, and very, very quiet. Because now you know, and they don't. If this hits you, don't let it vanish into the scroll. Hit like so the algorithm knows men like you still exist. And remember, there's more they don't want you to know.